Greetings, Principles of Marketing Humans. Today, we're going to talk about the difference between an organizational buyer and a consumer buyer. And the reason I have Blood, Sweat, and Tears playing in the background, their song Go Down Gambling, is because I want to use an example of the way a casino buys poker chips so that we can have a little context when we're talking about how organizations buy versus how consumers buy. And it's a really good song. I love a fat horn section. Anyway, so generally when we talk about consumers buying, there's a lot of emotion and familiarity that's involved, and very little rational thought. Okay, a lot of affect, not so much on the cognitive side. But with organizational buyers, it's a little different. Organizational buyers are very rational, and mainly because the organizational buying process in many cases involves lots of different individuals in the company. We have identified in marketing 5 basic areas of individuals that are involved in the business buying process. You have users, you have influencers, you have the actual buyer or buyers, you have deciders, and you have gatekeepers. Now, if we use the example of a poker chip, so casinos use poker chips as tokens for money. It allows for gambling and table games to proceed in a much more efficient manner. And so these chips will hold a dollar value in the casino. From $1 or $5 or $10 to $1,000. And so these can be very, very valuable and very important to the casino's operations. And there are lots of people that are vested in how this chip is purchased. So if we talk about the users of the chip, those employees at the casino that spend a lot of time handling these are going to be your cashiers and your dealers. So those people who are working in the cage as the cashier, and those people who are working in on the floor at the tables. You also have, the pit bosses that are overseeing the entire operation. Now, how the poker chip feels in your hand, how the weight of it, that's important to the dealer. How easy it is to identify as a counterfeit is really more important to the cashier. For example, in many places, there's an old school scam where you would take a low value chip and repaint it to be a high value chip. So you take a $1 chip and you repaint it so it's a $100 chip, and you try to turn it in. Well, the paint that you use is probably going to appear differently under UV light or some other that a casino cashier might use. They might use some technique. So those are very, very important issues. You also have influencers that are going to influence the purchase. Now, sometimes those are the same people as the user. Sometimes they're different. You might have managers in the casino maybe particularly the pit bosses or the manager, the cage manager, the cashier manager, they might want to influence how this is purchased. Now you actually have the buyers. Now buyers, professional buyers, in retail we call them merchandisers, but in other places it's just professional buyers. They buy for a living, right? And buying is a whole art form in and of itself. You have to one, know exactly what you want, and two, know exactly how much you're willing to spend for that. So buyers are pros at making deals and getting the best deal that they possibly can. You also have deciders. Now deciders are probably the buyer's boss that authorizes them to buy, right? So they're the ones that write the check and say, okay, now here's how much you got, this is what we want, go do it. And then the last area is gatekeepers, and gatekeepers are generally secretaries, and they're the ones that either allow or prevent a salesperson from making a pitch. And so you'll send in an RFP. Well, that RFP is going to go through a gatekeeper before it gets to anybody with eyes to make a decision. And a lot of times the gatekeeper will toss out bad ones, and so it makes the person who's actually making the decisions, makes their job a little easier. Anyway, that's today's video, and I appreciate you being with me, and I hope to see you for our next one on Chapter 6. Enjoy your apocalypse.